Hello, friends. How are you? Hi, Brave Masters. I'm Jena Rodriguez. We're going to talk about today what I learned the hard way. And now I'm rhyming. Anyway, so just wanted to jump in. Happy New Year. Welcome. And I've been a little quiet lately. So I want to, number one, explain. Number two, give you a couple insider scoop to what's been going on for me. And hey, Megan, welcome. Hey, Brian. If you guys are here live, yes, please say hello. I want to welcome you and say hello and welcome you to the new year. And if you're on replay, you know the rules. Hashtag replay, so I can see you too. So anyway, I just wanted to reconnect and certainly check in on everyone. And you know, the thing is, I've really been going through quite a bit just in my own kind of self internalizing process. I don't know how else to explain it, right? But this is the thing. I wanted to just share with you what's coming up for me, what I am noticing and really getting clear on about how I want to serve this year and going forward. And, you know, things are starting to, you know, kind of show themselves and reveal themselves. And sometimes this is what we have to go through. And I really want each of us to honor the journey, honor the process, the practice of the ebbs and flows of life and of our business, right? And I'm all about more brave and bliss in our lives and our businesses. And that's what I'm all about. So the reason I've been a little bit quiet is I really have kind of detoxed myself from the noise. There were a couple things that occurred last year that I got really clear on that started to basically, I call it a vortex, and the visual in my head is this spiraling kind of out of control feeling, and it really started, basically hit rock bottom. I hit the bottom of the vortex right after Thanksgiving, right at the beginning of December. And so over the last month or so, I intentionally got a little quieter online anyway, and I got more inward and started paying attention to what I call my inner guru, right? And so in order to do that, I really had to come up against some hard lessons and just hard realizations that will, number one, allow me to see what I need to see, and of course allow me to continue to open up more about what I am here to do and what my purpose is and what do I need to do next, right? There's always an unfolding. I know that. However, last year I put a lot of pressure on myself. I did a lot of things in my business that changed my business. I actually had one of the lower years in the last 5-6 years. You know, I'm just being straight with you guys. Our businesses are going to go up and down, and we are the leaders of those businesses. And so sometimes it's just the way it is. You got to let it go. You can't make it mean anything about you. And I was, so I know this now, right? But mastering the awareness around and being able to reframe the circumstances and being able to own them, release them, let them go, and then continue to move forward is, I think, the name of the game. So one of the things I learned, and I mean, I've got literally a whole journal of stuff, right? I wrote down, what did I learn last year? I won't share them all, and maybe over time I will. But there were some really, basically, I'll pick three, right? Like the magic three. One was surrendering. So something I know, and I've known it, but I didn't know how, it's like I almost didn't know it. And I don't know how else to explain it, but I've always been in the space of trying to control things. Welcome to recovering controller, right? Control freak. I've always said I'm a recovering perfectionist. Now I'm a recovering control freak. And, but it stems from a place way back when, you know, from an early child. And I could probably even equate it to coming into this world premature and having to basically survive, right? Like I was born, I think, Mom, I saw you on here. I don't know if you're still here. And my husband, hello, Alex. Hello, husband. But, I came in premature and I wasn't fully developed, and there was a lot I had to survive and a lot of things I had to do as an infant. I don't remember and recall all of the things that I made up at that moment, certainly, but I was in survival mode from day one. And I was in a place of finding my safety, finding my place to feel protected and feel taken care of, and all of those things. And the bottom line is whatever I made up about that, I've lived out my life consistent with it. And I lived out my life consistent with having to control as much as I can around my physical environment, around my, and that's everything from, relationships, money, business. I mean, like the physical space that we choose, our environments, all that. So it's just this sense of control. And I know this of myself. It's not that I was fully unaware of it. However, I didn't really get how much I was doing that in my business and in my world. And so, like I said, about a month ago, I pretty much hit the bottom of the barrel and realized lesson number one was complete surrender. And I will continue to figure out how to articulate this, but there truly was this place of complete acceptance and a willingness to be, kind of like all things that are inconsistent with who I really want to be and who I am innately, and ultimately surrender, and then surrender more, and then keep surrendering, and like letting go, and all of that. And what it showed up as is part of my control was not taking care of myself, not fully saying yes to me first. And so hopefully give me some likes or love if you guys are have ever been there or can resonate with this. But that was lesson number one, is I had to surrender. I had to literally let the pressure go. I couldn't change anything in the moment. I felt the pinch of the finances. I felt some things happened with my teenager, and she's fine, but it was just emotional. So I was in the space of trying to control that and trying to fix it and trying to do something about it. My business, wasn't really getting the traction that I wanted, and the direction that I wanted to go wasn't happening as fast as I wanted. That was the other thing. So again, trying to control it. I'm very goal driven and very action oriented, and the doer and all of that. And that was the part I had to let go of. And so I literally probably did less, worked less, and made more, especially in the financial arena last month than I had in the last couple months. So it was this sense of, yes, Brian, got to take care of you. Right. And yet I know it's knowing that, and yet how and what do I actually do about that? So surrender, one, and then self-care was the other one, really getting clear, this is important. And if I don't do this now, who knows where I'm going to end up, right? The other thing I saw was the noise. This is what I wrote. The noise keeps me busy and keeps me with separateness. And what I mean by separateness is separate from my higher self, the God source, whatever you want to call it, but that's what, I call it. And the truth of me, right? What does Jena want? And so the noise kept me separate. The noise in my head, the noise online, the noise, meaning I was paying attention to everybody else and everything else versus really getting quiet enough to hear what I wanted, hear what's best for me. I couldn't even hear the distinction of the voices. And now I've even put some framework. I systemize everything. Have you guys figured that out? So I'm systemizing this new awareness, these new conversations that I'm having with myself and for myself. And one is that, am I listening to my inspired voice more, or am I listening to my shallow voice? And I clearly have been listening to my shallow voice mostly, and that is a mastery that I've been aware of it, but it was like predominant. And so now over this last month or so, and continuing to practice, is how do I tap into that higher, that inspired voice? And so when I saw that the noise that I was creating, this is all self-imposed, was keeping me separate from that inspired voice, and my higher self. And so I got really real about that, because I was running myself ragged, and I was running myself into the kind of the ground, for lack of a better term. And so that was the second thing I learned very clearly. And then the other thing, because I had the other thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, and I have a video in here about the imposter syndrome, and you can go back to that video, and it's probably on my YouTube as well. But it truly was something I got caught up in. It felt like a web that I got caught in, and it was this imposter syndrome conversation, and I danced with that a lot last year. I think it started with my first decision at the beginning of the year, when I really made the decision to go online, like go bigger online, do these Facebook Lives. I mean, guys, I haven't been doing Facebook Lives for years. And my first one was like a year and 2 months ago. And so this year was very new for me in this space as well, and getting comfortable with it, getting comfortable with this conversation. Hello, if you're live, thank you for being here. And so when I was dancing with this imposter syndrome, that was adding to the noise. And it was also making me very resistant to where I was, like what's in my bank account, where I am in my business, it's like, where do I want to be? And I'm not there. And I'm like, I'm sick of it, and I want to change it, and I want to be done, and I want to get there. And hi, Judith. And so resistance to being where you are is use. I mean, it's only going to keep you where you are. That's what I want to say about that. And so in my health, in my business, in my relationships, all that, I mean, it was like this resistance to where I am, and wanting it to just finally be done, and finally reach those big goals that I had set. And so I basically took my life and business and some decisions, and I just kind of like shook it all up and like threw it up in the air. And then I spent months and years, and pretty much this is what I do all the time until now, is try to hold it all up in the air. So I literally shook my whole world up, and that's the visual I get, is like I threw all the balls up in the air, and then I tried to juggle them all, and I literally exhausted myself because of it. And so I just wanted to be really honest and real with you guys right now. I sat there this morning. Here's another real truth. I sat there this morning, and I was going to do the live with you guys right now, and I couldn't do it. I didn't know what to say. You know, I can dive into another business strategy. You guys know I'm about entrepreneurship. You know, I'm a business coach. And all of that will start to unfold itself. But right now, one of the most important things I need to say and declare is what I had to learn and what I had to go through in order to be more available to you, but more available to myself first. And so I couldn't do it earlier. I turned it on, and like I didn't hit the go live button, and then I went away from it. Again, listen to your inspired voice that just said, don't do it right now. And don't make it wrong or anything like that. But I just stopped and went on with something else. And then I'm so excited. I just did a podcast interview with one of our Brave Masters here in the group, and that'll be coming out soon. And she got me reconnected to this conversation. And I was like, okay, I need to share this right now. And so if I can come from an inspired place, and I hopefully you guys can hear your own journey in this, and sometimes how we try to be someone else, or just try to stand up on a live or a stage or whatever, and it's not feeling authentic. Then thank you, Jeremy. You know my story very well. And I think that's why we're listening to the shallow voice versus that inspired voice. And so there's been some other things I've done, and I'm just going to briefly tell you what that is, that has made the biggest difference. And I tell you, I was so resistant to this for years, for basically my entire life, because I've heard it probably over 20 years, that we should meditate and exercise daily and get up in the morning and do it, right? And like get it over with and take care of yourself. And I wasn't taking care of myself. Why? Because I wasn't in that space where that was a priority. And I had to find out, why am I not prioritizing that, right? So over this last month, I have dedicated my morning to meditation, getting quiet, journaling. That's what this is all about. That's why I can tell you what I learned, because I wrote it down. And exercising, another game I play with myself. I don't know if you have an Apple Watch. I have the green ring, which is 30 minutes of exercise. And now I'm like, I have to close this ring. That's what I got to do every single day. And now I'm actually, because I believe that I'm getting better sleep and that I'm listening to more of the inspired voice, I honestly believe that it's allowing my body to, number one, stop the stress that I was putting myself under that I didn't really realize, and release more weight. That's a journey I'm on, is releasing unnecessary weight, and it's working. So I'll tell you more about that as it progresses. Again, it's been 30 days pretty much straight. There was a few days, and this is what's great, is there was a few days I didn't meditate and I didn't do it. I got active, but I wasn't meditating per se. And then it was like 3 days, and I saw the contrast. And sometimes that's what we need, is we need to see the difference, because when we're in one space, we can't see the contrast in order to then choose what we actually want to continue to create. So I was like, whoa, I'm actually missing the meditation. Like, why? I need it. I need to go back to that. And so I use an app. I use the Calm app, CALM. And so there's all kinds of tools you can use to make it happen for yourself. But the bottom line is, and I've also resisted journaling a lot of my life. Like I used to do it a little bit in the beginning, in my 20s, and then I got away from it. And it was almost like I just didn't have time. I don't have time to sit and get quiet enough to even to do that. And I made it such a thing. And honestly, if I can impose anything on you for this new year, is like self-care. And I know you got to find your own practice, and I know you got to get ready for it. You have to have the readiness to say yes to this. But I'm sharing it so that you can see that, it's just where I am now, and it's working, and it's making a huge difference for what big things I have coming, right? And I know that I was the one in the way of the things that I wanted most. And so now it's about surrendering. It's still inspired action, but it's not this pressure, control, doing for the sake of doing. And I'll have to be honest, there may be things I've said in the past called get your hustle on, and I'm still agreeing that action is necessary. That won't change, but there's a huge difference for me right now between action for the sake of getting something versus the inspired action. And I couldn't hear what the inspired action was because I wasn't getting quiet enough to distinguish get the distinction between my shallow voice and my inspired voice. So thank you for the love. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And yes, Judith, listening to that deeper inspired voice is so necessary. And I'm recognizing that now, and I'm just so glad that I kind of hit my rock bottom last year, emotionally and spiritually, and with my self-care, that now I can see what I need to see, and I'm just going to keep sharing with you what's next and what comes up for me next, and what do I journal next, and because I really believe that my purpose, which I couldn't hear last year, I couldn't hear it. It's still in the space of entrepreneurship, but it's also about mindset shifting and the brave and the bliss that I want to help you bring, and being the motivational speaker, not just the strategist, but bringing all of it together. And that's what I see is what I really want to bring to the world right now. So yes, I even was working with my clients last week and saw a new side of what I can help them with. And I hadn't tapped into it for a long time. And many of you know or don't know that I used to be a controller. I used to be accountant. Numbers always come easy to me. Like I can, figure them out. I can reconcile. I can do all that. And I very much understand the financial statements that we need in order to run a business. But I hadn't talked about it. I hadn't really brought that conversation forward in a long time. And what I used to do was the accounting aspect, right? The actual like bookkeeping and close the books and, help people understand, their financial situation in their business. But I didn't want to do that part anymore. That's not what lights me up. I don't want to do your bookkeeping by any means. However, what I do love is to take the numbers, take the financial statements and be able to share with you what they mean and what it means for your business and your net worth and your, and help you make decisions from that place. So anyway, I just saw that I had more conversations around that in the last week or so, and it just really lit me up. I was like, wow, this is great, because I'm all about profit, and I'm all about helping people have, really healthy businesses. And, and so now I get to step even more into that space. So I am all about helping you speak up with brave and confidence and getting your point of view out there in the world so people can hire you. And you've got to speak up and do that in a powerful way through your marketing and getting on stages and all of that good stuff. But I'm also still about scaling your business. And in order for me to step into any of this, the number one thing underlying all of it is self-care. And so that will be more and more of the conversation in order to bring all of the aspects of life and business and success strategies as well, right? All of that has to come together, in my opinion, to get people to where they want to go, and certainly get myself to where I want to go. So I just wanted to offer that. I would love to know what your takeaway is. I'm being really, really vulnerable right now. It's really the first time that I've said this all out loud. I've said it in private conversations and started speaking about it just now on a podcast interview. And because I had to figure out how to even articulate it. I was just being with it, and I will continue to be with it, and whatever shows up next is like, that's what you'll get more of. So I just really love you all. I really appreciate you. And I just want to bring more of me to you. And so that's why I'm having this conversation. That's great, Judith. Allow. I love that. Thank you. Thanks for your proudness. Thank you. The allow is so big, and the surrender, and my words for the year are listen and follow, listen and obey, either way. And that's listening to my inspired voice. So awesome. Please let me know what you're taking away. Again, if you're on the replay, please hit #replay. I can see the view counts, but it means so much more when I can see your name and your face, to know that you are here and with me, and share this, or bring people into the group. This is in the group, right? So you may have to invite them into the group if you feel like they need to hear some of this too. And I just really appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go get our brave on. Let's go get our bliss on. Let's go be more of who we are meant to be. And I am in the journey just as much as you are. So, and if I can help you in any way, speak up in your world and build your business and build your mindset mastery. I would love to be able to do that with you. And that's what I'm all about. Thank you for the hearts. I see them. They're flying up. They're little flying hearts. So thank you so much. And I will be back for more, again, as I think of things that will not only share more of my heart. I will jump back in here and do another live and certainly support you with strategies and things like that as we move along here. But thanks for listening, and I love you all. Talk to you soon.